I am so excited to share today's interview with you. I have the incredible Marloes Tear with me. Marloes is a energy, mindset, and leadership coach, and she has some incredible stuff to share with us around how we can make sure our businesses are aligning with us. That we are not we're embracing the season of life that we're in. For me, that's tricky because I'm a mum of a young kid, of a young toddler, and I'm trying to balance that life of being really content in both of my business and in my personal life. And so Marloes has some really great insight into that whole world. Um, as having she's a new mum herself, so that's always fun to chat about. Plus, we also chat about her experience in the Co-Creation Club. So if you're not aware, I have a program which I'm super proud of, and Marloes absolutely loved, and it's pretty much a 6-week container where you get to work with me in a small group environment where we design your graphics together. So it's different to anything you will have seen before. It's not a course that's just that's far off and you just have to work through it yourself, and it's not handing everything over to a designer that you just have to pay a heap of money to, don't get much say in it, and don't feel like it's authentically you, and don't get the skills to do anything in the future. It's like this perfect middle ground of learning how to do the design, learning lifelong skills, and having the support of a designer, and having that real accountability and momentum and drive and surety that what you're creating is really, really incredible. So it is a program that I'm so proud of, and it's currently open right now, which is why I wanted to chat with Marloes and share with you what her experience was inside the club and what worked for her, maybe what didn't work for her, and how it kind of changed everything for her business. And just so you know a little bit about Marloes before we get into it, I want to just read out to her bio to you because it's pretty incredible. Marloes is an internationally certified leadership, mindset, and energy coach who supports ambitious, heart centered leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers to be their most confident, courageous, and powerful selves. Her clients desire to radically shift the playing field and redefine leadership so that they can have deeply fulfilling lives and create the life changing impact they know they can have with integrity, joy, and purpose. And we actually get an insight into Marloes' whole journey of how she's cultivated that in her own life. And I'm so excited to share it with you. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome, Marloes, to the podcast. Thank you for being here. I am so excited for our conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a joy to be here with you. So yeah, thrilled for our conversation today.
So to set some context for everyone listening, Marloes was one of my, what I call my co-creation clubbers, or just clubbers for short, which she joined me in a program. Was it October? Is that the round that you were?
Yes, last year. Yeah.
At the end of last year, and it was pretty cool. But we're going to get to chatting about that later. But I just wanted to let you know that we've got like Marloes, like, you know, when you have like dream students and they just like show up to all the calls, do all the work, and like really just go the extra mile, and then they get the results from it. That's what she was. So just so you know what kind of person she is.
Thanks so much. It was a joy.
It's a joy to have you. Okay, so what I ask all of my guests is to let me know what your ultimate day in business and life would look like. Like, not like going on a holiday and doing like fancy things, but like what is just a really solid, beautiful, fulfilling kind of day for you in life and business? What would that look like for you?
Well, it would definitely start off the morning just feeling calm and grounded into whatever the day's going to bring, because let's be real, we don't know what that looks like. And so for me, having that calmness and that steadiness, that groundedness is really important. I love starting the day slow and calm, although that's not always realistic. Having a little girl or toddler who's 14 months now,
So cute.
and I'm still breastfeeding as well. So usually if I do wake up before her, it's like, yay, I have whatever time for myself. If not, then it's Nola breastfeeding, and it's all about her right away.
Yep.
But an ideal day would absolutely look like that I have a little bit of space and time for myself first, to ground into my vision, how I want to show up, who I am, who I want to continue to be, and then looking at what will move the needle forward in my business and with my vision and the work that I've dedicated myself to do as a leadership and mindset coach. And then, just allowing it to really flow. That usually looks like playtime with Nola, and then having a couple of hours, hopefully, if she naps long enough. Again, we don't know what the day would look like. To spend a few hours on my work. I usually drop in then, do some client work, drop into Voxer, or simply walk with the challenges or the things that they may be working through. And then we are very fortunate. My husband's working from home a lot now. And so ideally, if we have the time, we sit together and have lunch. And if not, if that's not possible, because he's quite busy, then, dinner at nighttime. And it's just that I think at the end of the day, it's like this, I have been able to spend time with the things that truly matter to me. So my loved ones, my business, and then feeling that flow and groundedness throughout the day, and not saying like, oh, everything is Zen, but just being able to captivate those moments, because it's not realistic to be like this all the time, right? But yeah, I feel like that would be truly an ideal day, where I'm like lying in bed at the end of the day and just being like, oh, I feel fulfilled. I've given it my all today. I've shown up. I've had to practice my patience here and there, and I was able to do that. I've spent time with my loved ones. I've honored myself with my business and self-care, reached out to, my clients, and connected with my family and friends, etc., who I love dearly. And that's it. Life can be simple and great, Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that little insight into your life. And yeah, I totally get the unpredictability of when baby wakes versus the time you get to yourself. Sometimes it's like, oh, I get it. And sometimes it's 1 minute or negative minutes. But
exactly.
Life, isn't it? That was too predictable, would get bored, I'm sure of it. So no, thank you for sharing that. So I'd love to know a little bit about your business. If you could share that with us, like, could you, I guess, give us an elevator pitch about who you are and what you do, and then maybe share with us how it all kind of got started.
Put me on the spot, Jackie. So I am a leadership and mindset and energy coach for ambitious, heart-centered entrepreneurs, change makers, and leaders. And I'm all about wholeheartedly and unapologetically living and leading on your terms, with joy, purpose, and impact. And I came to this point knowing who I want to serve and how I want to serve and why I serve them, through my own journey of burning out in corporate twice.
Wow.
In my early career, I've been in marketing and business development, in fundraising and events. And I was always taught, like, it's all about the hustle, work hard, put everything in now and rest when you're, when you're dead, and just work yourself to the bone, because that's the way to be promoted. That's the way to get ahead and go next level. And so a couple of years ago, and I've been at this crossroad multiple times actually, where I was just like, I don't think it has to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. Like, I know there's more in store. Like, life and my career shouldn't be like that. And so this coincided with kind of my next, I think you can probably hear Noah screaming in the back, hopefully not. But anyway, this coincided, like this realization of it doesn't have to be this way, I know there's more in store, coincided with me feeling the call to like move into another phase in my career. I was then like having a high paying job. I was traveling around the world, being an expat, like the amazing international dream business job that I thought I had studied and, worked all the way through my life to get to. And then I was at this crossroads where I was like, okay, I don't think this is right. And then there were two things that I did. One was I studied to become a life coach with the Beautiful You Coaching Academy. One of the best decisions I've ever made. And the second one was I decided to seek out more purposeful work that would give me joy and that would be able to see the impact that I would have on people and working for humanity and with people. So I chose to then pivot into charity. And so those two decisions were kind of the start of that. And that's how I began to immerse myself into coaching. And I just discovered like, oh my gosh, this wasn't actually new. I wasn't new to coaching, because I had my first encounter in university like 10 years before that or something with coaching, just in a career coaching kind of capacity from university. And I loved it so much. It lit me up. And I was just like, wow, I love doing this work. And it felt like I had found my calling, but I really only embraced it and owned it as my calling when I was then going into the next phase of my own life and evolution, which was I was coming to that point again where I was feeling unhappy, even in charity, even knowing that I was doing purposeful work. And then I found and figured out just through my own work with coaches and doing deep work around mindset that there were so many narratives and constructs that I had tried to fit myself into to, seek happiness and purpose and joy. And again, they didn't work for me. And so that's when I knew that there's got to be a way to live and lead on your own terms, wholeheartedly and unapologetically, prioritizing joy, purpose, and impact in a completely new way, redefining leadership and success. And so that's when I knew, okay, I'm going to shift again. And in a very non-linear way, I have to say, kind of jumping all around, motherhood came into play as well, into the fold. And so last year, just over a year ago, when I had Nola, I was going to go back to my corporate job in not-for-profit in fundraising. And I just felt, okay, this is not going to work. And so because I really wanted to prioritize and honor the role that I have and the gift that I have as a mother. And so coming back to integrity and wholeheartedness, I knew that in this season of my life, she was going to be the priority. And I still had my calling through my coaching business and the work there with clients. I knew I could serve and support. And so again, I then decided, you know what, I'm going to go all in on my business in a way that is going to fit into my life, working around motherhood, not the other way around, trying to fit motherhood around my life and work, which was what we were conditioned to, what I feel like we have been conditioned to. So yeah, long-winded way of, that's how I kind of started in entrepreneurship or decided to be a business owner and in this realm of coaching.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's never a straight and normal kind of journey, is it? It's always different levels of discovery and trying different things and be like, actually, no, this is what I'm wanting. And so the question I was going to ask now, but I'm interested to know. So I know when you joined the club, you weren't 100% certain about, is this the right time? Is this what I need to be doing right now? It seems to have coincided with when you were really thinking of, it's time to go all in on my business. Is that kind of how that journey kind of came about for you?
Absolutely. I think the universe has just a way of like serendipitously lining things up. I feel like when I was in the club, when I decided to join the club, and I want to give some context to your listeners as well, is that I had been looking at joining the club for a little while. I think you and I had, conversations even very early on. Yeah, when you maybe just started the club,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this sounds amazing, but when's the right time kind of thing. And I was going to be a mother and, when am I going to find the time? And so I definitely learned one thing is that, yeah, you don't just find the time, you're going to make the time for something that is going to add more value to your life. Even maybe not in the moment, like later on. And so I decided to join the club and join the October round when I had really already felt like, okay, I want to elevate my brand, my business brand, go into the next phase of my business and really be able to expand my reach. Because I had realized that being like, I guess, a side hustle coach or having my business as a side hustle alongside my 9 to 5, I hadn't really invested in, the actual foundations of my brand. There were elements of it. And that's why you can see now in my brand that, oh yeah, all those colors and the elements that I chose and that, in working with you have come to, I think they were like, oh my God, this was the thing that I actually wanted. But I didn't really have, I guess, the container, the expertise and support, which I got from you. and then the commitment and the courage to be like, you know what, I'm going to make this work for me. And, in whatever way, I don't know how it, exactly, because even at that point, I didn't know if I was going to be able to join all the calls, and I was able to, because when I invested, when I decided to invest in this and in myself, it was not just to have pretty brand colors and some nice, elements. It was like, no, this is part of the foundation of the business and the legacy that I want to build. And so really knowing my why in my business helped me with the decision of how I wanted to show up in the Co-Creation Club and how I wanted to work with you. And, I decided to go all in on that one too, because I wanted that time with you one-on-one. And that was just, incredibly valuable and supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that answered the question.
That was really great. And I think, yeah, it can be, it's hard to know when the right time to really, really push into our branding and our marketing and all that kind of stuff is. But I think kind of, as you say, it's not just about the pretty graphics. There's so much more to it. Like when you're thinking through your branding, you have to think through so many other elements of your business as well. And as you do those actions and as you take that ownership and as you feel that confidence, those things all together is what creates the magic, not just, oh, cool, your branding now looks professional. There's all these other layers to it. I love that you brought that to light, because I think sometimes, because I just love pretty things, I do honestly forget that there's like, actually, no, there is all of these different other parts too. And they're almost more valuable than just watching you show up now and creating all of your new posts and putting out all of your offers. I can just see there's a sense of confidence and ownership of everything that you're putting out there, because you've got kind of that foundation and everything you've already spent that time thinking through inside the club.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to also give credit to that process that you start, people who join the Co-Creation Club with, like going through the brand planner process. And I want to say again, for context, I'm someone who, has invested a lot of money and time and energy into like business coaching, working with marketing coaches, working with, leadership and life coaches. And so I actually have a very good grasp on those things in terms of, who are you serving? What are you about and why are you serving it? But I feel like going through that process with you when I joined the Co-Creation Club, it was again timing for me to really have this opportunity now fully crystallize that and then like own all of that. And just, it kind of like, it gave me even more confidence to be like, oh, because I was already pretty confident in Canva, but there was an element of, oh, I'm still trying to figure some things out, whether or not a post is complete and full enough with the expression that I want to bring out to the world. And so when I went through that process with you, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are now the foundations are slotting in. And now I don't have to think about that part of when I'm creating something in Canva. I'm like, oh, will this look good? I mean, there's some element of aesthetics to it, but I've learned enough now from you and going through that club process to know like, yep, this is it. And I can move on to the next thing. Because yeah, there's so much as an entrepreneur and business owner, like it never ends. So having the ability to move quickly and with confidence and just, is everything. Yeah.
I love that point. I love that point. And like, yeah, because half of the way that I teach people to get quicker at creating their graphics is getting better at Canva. And the other half of it is just having that clarity and that knowledge around, this is my style. And then I know how to make it look good and I know when it's finished, because otherwise we're just going forever wasting our time on something that is important, but not the most important thing on your business, and not the most, like, as a coach, you should be spending most of your time coaching and not working in Canva on your graphics. And so opening that opportunity up to actually be like, nope, this is good, I'm moving on now. That's really cool that you're able to take that from the experience. I'd love to know, why did you feel like you needed the club and couldn't just work through this process on your own with the knowledge and information that you already had?
Well, that really comes down to you, Jackie. I had you just, and when I say you, it's because I, as part of a trusted network of coaches, incredible, successful, phenomenal powerhouse coaches, I'd known and seen your work with them, and there was something that I was feeling like I was missing in terms of, again, that expertise on, brand and aesthetics of the brand and how that all holistically worked together with the foundations of marketing. Like I said, I had the foundations of marketing and business, I wouldn't say completely, but pretty well. And so I felt like you were able to add to that with your expertise. And I just really wanted to work with you. I knew you were creating incredible things that not just only looked amazing, but had substance. And this is really important for me. Like, my brand is about, my essence and, who I am and who I am and how I am being as a coach and as a human and all of those things. And I wanted to find a way of working that would really honor those things, because there's so many other, design courses that I could have looked at, but it was that staying true to who I am and honoring me and my gifts, that process that I felt you were doing incredibly well, because you had worked with a number of different business owners and people, and I could see the uniqueness of each person. It wasn't like some cookie cutter thing that people go through the factory with you and then they come out the same, or it's all kind of meh and blah. No, I could see the real essence, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to work with you because I felt like you were able to help me shine my essence and my gifts more, which I wanted to do in an authentic way to expand my reach. And so I had really high expectations when I joined the club, but you delivered, so it's okay. Beyond, above and beyond, to be really honest.
That's really interesting. I probably hadn't actually properly thought about that point that you've just made around. But you're right. Like, everyone that comes in, it's a totally different process for each person. Like when you join like my course, DIY Design My Biz, I just say, here you go, work through the course, and that's got beauty in itself. But the club is a different thing. If everyone joins at their special, particular, different level, and then I take them from where they're at, and then I work with them to create what they need at where they're at for what they are desiring, rather than that factory kind of just in and out. Here's your thing. So I'm really cool that you felt. It's really cool that you felt that, and put words to that. I'm clearly having trouble doing that right now. Amazing. All right, I've got one more question on the club, and then I'm really excited to show everyone some really great insights into your brain and how you work and how you serve, because it's incredible. I just want to ask you, what is everything now like, now that you've finished the club, you've finished that experience, you've finished creating an incredible brand? Actually, before you answer that, could you let me know like what you created inside the club? Like, I know we did the logo, but could you expand people like what actually was the whole creation of what that looked like?
Oh my gosh, what I created in the club. Do you have another half an hour for this? I mean, so I remember I had a list of 15 elements or things that I wanted to create, right? I wanted to create like templates for all my forms, like my Google form and my social channels like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I wanted to create social media templates. I wanted to create reel templates. I wanted to create new graphics for my website, a new logo, new brand elements, and having a brand toolkit where I knew like the consistency of my brand and how I would use elements well in a way that was not just aesthetically making sense, but also again from a brand perspective. And so, and I can't believe, but I actually did all of that and more. Like I rebranded, yes, a logo is nice, but I actually made that come to life in context. So worked on the website and, had your beautiful eye in going through which graphics were, maybe needing a little bit more tweaking, etc. And I don't know, like whipped out a whole website. I mean, I have to say, like, I was working on that kind of already before I joined the club, and it was just a little bit like, oh, I do need to update it. And whilst I'm going through a rebrand, I may as well just update it with some fresh graphics. But then it became, I don't know, I feel actually with the brand foundations that I build in the Co-Creation Club, building the new website myself in the spare hours when Nola was napping or sleeping, um, was so much easier. It just like it made sense, and I was like, oh my God, I've got everything here. I don't need to think about like, oh, how do I make this look good and stay true to me and who I am. It just flowed. And so that's when I was able to do that in the couple of months' time. So the new website, completely new graphics on my social media, and yeah, again, like I said, all the forms, etc., and even some redone my freebie, a new one in creation. And I felt like when I was just on a roll with that, like my creativity is just like off the charts now. I just feel like, oh, when I have time, I can create these things. I've got, a running doc of things that come to me in terms of creative inspiration. But I just created so much. I think my whole business from a brand perspective and marketing perspective just got a complete overhaul. And I also want to say that it's not just the outer thing that people see. It's for me internally, like having that clarity, confidence, and now also more courage with that to do the things that are harder for me now, which is like focusing on the outreach and sales and having those conversations and really focusing on connection, which is essential for me. So it actually, by investing that time going through the club and doing that, initial kind of groundwork and building those foundations, I now have more brain space, more time, and like more creative energy as well to bring into my business. So it's just like it's given me so much. Yeah, I achieved so much in the club. And some things I remember bringing to the club in those group call sessions, and having had your eye on it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to come back to it. And so I felt like there were like 10 things that were kind of half open when, oh, they're almost done, like 80% done. And then it was just, again, in that beautiful nonlinear way, it would just naturally come back, and I would just find just an easeful way to come to completion with that and be like, oh yeah, actually I realize now this can be used for much later, or this one is now the one that I'm going to prioritize, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's still ongoing, like I haven't updated all the graphics that I want to yet from a marketing perspective, but like I really feel incredible about the stuff that is out there for people to see, because I feel like it gives them a better way to connect with who I am as a coach, as a business owner, and a human being. And that's really important. Like I want that connection to flow more. I want people to see, who I am in the essence, because it's important to have that alignment and that, that fit in working together. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing all that. And I love that I know you did it intentionally, but it's a wonderful segue. We're talking about the next thing I want to ask you about, finding that alignment between ourselves and our businesses, and I guess the integrity and being true to ourselves, but also being a business owner and running a business as a business is run. And could you have any insights around how we can find that balance between those two sides of almost ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's been ongoing, and I think even you and I, having had some conversations, more recently, I think the first thing that's really important is really first and foremost accepting the season you're in your business and in your life. And when I say accepting, it's really getting real and present to what's really important to you right now, what truly matters to you, right? For me, I put it in context, is like, again, my priority is being a mum to Nola. She's a young child right now, and I want to be a present mother. I want to be a loving, unconditionally loving present mother with her. That's my first priority. And then I also have my business and my vision and legacy for that I dedicate, again, my life's work to. And so it's finding ways creatively to balance them out, to honor both of them. And a lot of that work, the acceptance, comes actually with letting go of narratives and conditioning and things that don't serve us. You know, the close friend that might say like, oh, you can't send them to daycare because daycare is bad. You need to homeschool them. And then, you know, there's just, I mean, especially as mothers, I think there's so much pressure in terms of, you know, what's right, what's true. And sometimes that we don't create space for really ourselves to tap into, like, what do we actually want? What do we value, right? I value a loving, caring, safe environment for my daughter. And so having carers and support from people who can provide that, that's one thing. And then for my business, I know that, you know, when it comes to different areas in life, business is one of those things that is like really flexible and is a bouncy ball, right? You can still stay committed to it in a way that feels true for you in whatever season you are in your life, so long you stay committed to that and say, okay, well, I only have, I don't know, 3 hours a week or something, or an hour a day, or whatever it is, whatever time you have. Even if you spend 5 minutes a day intentionally working towards that, then that's enough. You know, if that's all you have to stay true to being in alignment to your values and your other commitments in life, then embrace that, accept that. So I think it's working out, you know, accepting the season where you are, what are your priorities, and then really discerning, you know, how much time and energy needs to go to each aspect. And maybe sometimes it's also saying, well, okay, then this thing that I wanted to do is not for me right now, right? And I was just thinking about my fitness goals. I used to do a lot of, you know, strength training and weightlifting, and I haven't been able to do that in the last 2 years, and kind of also since COVID. But that was something that always was on my mind, like, oh, I want to get back to, but I just have I can't go to the gym 5 times a week and spend 2 hours there do you know what I mean? And so having to accept that and finding other ways, because I do value movement and exercise and health, that's really important to me, but finding other ways, which means maybe 15 minutes if, you know, I wake up before NOLA, or 20 minutes of yoga, or doing like a quick workout on my app, or, you know, using the weights that I have at home. It's just finding creative ways to still honor the thing that you really value and the thing that you want to have in your life, but allowing yourself to be flexible around it. You know, doesn't mean that, oh, if I don't do a 1 hour workout, then I'm not healthy. You know, there's a lot of this black and white thinking when it comes to mindset sometimes. And I think we can trip ourselves up on that. So I would definitely say, yeah, accepting that and being discerning about, you know, what it is that is really important for you in your life at this time.
That's really great. I think, and it's a hard one to stomach sometimes, of like, well, I can't do everything that I want to do in my life right now. That's the way it is. And so choosing what are the top priorities, and knowing that some other priorities are going to come around back some other time when priorities reshift, or our children don't need as much time from us. So my exercises right now are, I didn't do it for so long because I was like, I just don't have time. I was like, no, Jackie, I do want to prioritize some movement. And so this year I've started doing like a run or a ride or a YouTube workout for like 20 minutes in the morning on like a couple of days a week. It's so funny. Marley now sees me like getting on my exercise clothes, and she's like, exercise. I'm like, yeah. And if
amazing,
does that with me, and it's so cute. But yeah,
hilarious.
And I can have time for some things. I can't have time to go on an hour run. People are like, oh, how far are you running? It's only a couple of Ks, because I don't want to be running for an hour. I just want to be running for 20 minutes or less, because that's what life is right now. And then just other things that I dream of doing, but maybe it's okay to do them all now. And my priorities are growing my business and being a good mum. And so those things are going to take more time from my life than maybe learning to sing well, that I can do when Marley's and so thinking about those different things and being okay with them. I think, I don't know about you, but some days I'm okay with them, and some days I'm like, why can I just do everything else that I want to do? But
I hear you.
No, I've thought this through when I've been a bit more less emotional. I've thought through what actually matters to me right now, and that's okay to be in that for this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing I want to add is, having all those dreams and those things that you deeply desire in life, and just accepting that maybe it's not the time for that right now, but keeping those things alive. Keeping those things alive is really important as well. And there could be many ways to do that. I think I have a dream book, and one of the dreams I put in there is do like floristry, or like do something with flowers. And yeah, that's definitely not a priority right now, but one way to keep that alive is just to keep honoring the beauty of flowers that I can connect with, even on a daily basis, when I'm going outside for a walk with Nola, or when she's in the park playing. And you know so I think there are really ways for you to keep your dreams alive, and just to honor those without having to have that expectation of like, I need or want that right now. Because when it comes to pushing and forcing things that are not true and right for you in this season of your life, it can make it harder for yourself. You can make it harder for yourself when you do push and force things. And so again, like accepting, allowing, and trusting that so long you invest and connect with that dream, or stay connected to that dream and don't let it go, but just letting go of when and how that might happen, I feel, yeah, it's really important.
It's really beautiful. I love that way of just putting it, of like, just, yeah, pick flowers at home and pop them in a nice vase and enjoy those, or look at the flowers on the, this is a total tangent, but I've always like this last year of like, oh, flower garden would be so beautiful, because our garden right now is not a prairie. So it's just weeds and nothing. But I got an advertisement for this website that sends you like a whole packet of like a perfect mix of like beautiful flowers you are, or like what your priority is, if like it's like bees or like, anyway, I'm just so excited to get that. But yeah, anyway,
Amazing.
things that, yeah, just bring yourself in connection to the things that you love, even if it's not going to fully manifest at this point in time, I think it's a really cool way to put it. And a little bit less, oh, I have to totally give up on all my dreams, but I can pursue them a tiny bit and just remember that and write it down somewhere so you don't forget about it, and then pursue it when other things arise, rather than filling it your time with things that don't matter to you. It's nice. All right. That's enough. Wonderful live chat. Can we, I'd love my audience to know how they can get in touch with your world, get in touch with you on maybe Instagram, or what you've kind of got around right now, if someone's really resonating with the kind of things you're sharing right now.
Yeah. Many ways to get in touch. So on Instagram, you can find me on at my handle at Modusté. You can jump on my website, modusté.com. I have a couple of resources and freebies, and there's actually some really more exciting things coming up as well. A freebie called Purpose Fueled Goal Setting. It's a goal setting guide to really support you in owning your intention and being able to take daily action in a way that feels true for you. But yeah, a beautiful goal setting process that I actually use with my clients as well. So that's a guide that's available. And I'm looking to organize a couple of community gatherings next month, which I haven't announced anywhere yet. So hey, here we are. So yeah, I warmly invite people to come to that. I'll be sharing more on social and on my mailing list as well. So yeah, I'd love to connect with people if anything I shared today resonates. Because yeah, I truly believe that the world needs, your unique gifts, your strengths, your purpose, your joy, your creativity, and your soul expression. So I've devoted myself to supporting people to be able to do that. And so I can't wait for people to do that and be the expression that they want to be in the world.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that freebie. I might download it myself and work through some goal stuff. No, thank you. today. It's been a really, really insightful to hear your thoughts of the club and how it deeply affected you beyond just pretty graphics, and also learn a couple of things about all the wonderful things that you know and are deeply embedded into yourself. So thank you for your time. I so appreciate it, and we'll see you around.